Welcome to our world. Won't you come on in? Waiting just for you. Welcome to our world.
We be
Okay,
the
you can't do that. You can't do that.
Can't do what?
You can't make outtakes just by singing.
I'm not
That's
making an
not
outtake. This is
an intake.
an intake. Maybe that we should have had that be like our theme. Let's get together.
Are we recording?
Are we recording? I don't
Yes,
know. Okay. Well,
I believe we're recording. Let me step away.
oh brother.
Let me back up farther away. Okay.
A few things to begin. First of all, we would be remiss not to mention Billy Joel and his medical issues.
I don't know if probably most people aren't aware of this yet since you just found
Well,
this out.
this broke recently, and
What is it?
well, he has a brain issue. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. It's similar to dementia, but hopefully reversible, unlike dementia.
What's it called?
Stop. We're not doing this. We're not the news. Anyway, you can look it up, and you should. And also, if you're going to watch right after.
I was going to watch it, and then you told me we had to start recording.
Well, right after we record, because I think you're going to cry, so it's better than we waited. You should watch, everybody should go watch the music video for Billy Joel's song. Everybody, you should all go and watch Billy Joel's music video for Turn the Lights Back On.
Turn the lights back on.
It is very good, and it made me tear up.
Okay. But
anyway,
use LED high-efficiency bulbs, though.
The second thing that is super exciting that we need to mention before we begin.
Go ahead.
Is that we now have a number that you can call or text us at. Super exciting. The number.
So this will be a better way to consolidate comments. And
yes.
Of course, the only thing is we can reply.
I'm not going to reply. Let's make
never
that
going to
clear.
reply.
Or, well, no, I'll reply, but I'll just say.
The black hole.
No. Who knows if we received your message? I will just respond with. I will reply, but I don't want to make it a whole. Because we want our reactions to be on the podcast.
Okay.
So I'm not going to have a whole.
We're not going to have a conversation
with you about it.
Good enough. That's fine.
Anyway, so the number, and I'll put this in the show notes too. Can I tell them the number first?
Yes, go ahead.
The number you can text or call us at is 407-584-7543. And I will put that in the show notes.
Okay. One more time hold on. You have to give them a minute to go get a pen or open up their notes app on their phone or whatever.
407.
Hold on. They didn't get it opened yet.
What?
Okay, go ahead. Now say it.
407-584-7543.
Yeah.
Text or call us.
It would be a good idea if everyone sent a comment.
Yes.
Just so we know the number's working. We will send a reply that just says, we got your comment. Received.
It's going to be a thumbs up.
That's a thumbs up. There you go. That's good. That will indicate that we have received the comment.
I also want to make it clear by sending us a message here or by leaving us a voicemail on this number, you are giving us the right to play said voicemail on the air if we would choose to do so and read your message.
Right. So if you prefer, so if you prefer to be on the podcast live, well, not live, a recording of you leaving a voicemail live on the podcast.
All right, great. Today we are going to revisit a topic.
I have no idea what this topic's going to be.
As usual, that we tried to do one time, and it didn't work out. So, a lot of episodes back. No, this is fine this time. A lot of episodes back, there were some outtakes where we had recorded this episode, and it was like unexplained things in history or something like that. And we got halfway through you remember all this?
No, I don't remember exactly.
We got halfway through the list of like 7 unexplained, and then we're at like number 3, and one of the first sentences is like, science has explained how this is the reason. And I was like, what is this, Liz? It was so bad. So we had
they
to
weren't really
scrap
unexplained.
that whole thing.
It was clickbait.
But
it was
these
clickbait.
Things are actually, if they're most of them, we really don't know where these things come from.
Okay.
And they like scientists and historians and people have theories, but the origins of these things or like the history behind them is up in the air.
Yeah.
So these are actual things that I did research on before just coming into the podcast. Okay.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting because some of these I'm sure you've heard of. Actually, probably all of these you've heard of. There's nothing super crazy here, but there are five things. Okay. So the first thing.
Go for it.
That we will talk about, an unexplainable science/history thing, is the wow signal. Do you know what this is?
Wow signal?
Wow, yes.
No, I have no idea what this is.
You're going to know what this is, I feel like, when I explain it. Well, obviously, because I'll have explained it.
Explain it to me. Then I'll know what it is.
The wow signal is a strong, narrow-band radio signal detected in 1977 by Ohio State University's Big Ear Radio Telescope, sparking speculation about extraterrestrial communication. The signal, which lasted 72 seconds, was not repeated, and its origin remains a mystery, though recent studies suggest a possible natural explanation involving a hydrogen cloud. You did not. You knew about this.
I still don't know what this is. No, I might have heard somewhere something that no.
That's kind of wild to me because I feel like that.
But you knew this. You knew this before you read it.
I'd heard of this. I didn't know. I don't know details about it, but
no.
You're super interested in space stuff.
I am. But for clarification, I'm super interested in space, but I'm not interested in like all the kind of fake. If I say fake, it sounds like I already decided. The extraterrestrial stuff. Like, in other words, I think somewhere in the universe, I don't think we're the only life in the universe. Not. In fact, I think there's a good chance we're not the only life, like, in the solar system, right?
I don't think we are either.
Like, between either Mars or one of the moons of Jupiter or something like that. I feel like there's got to be some microscopic life or whatever. But as far as all this kind of crazy, gets back to conspiracy theory stuff.
I mean, this isn't a conspiracy theory, though.
I know. But my only point is that's why probably it's something that I probably heard it before, but I wasn't overly like, oh, there it is. That's
I'm not saying that either, right. But it is. You have to say like it's weird because so to clarify, it was a 72.
Said, wow.
No, so this is what happened: a 72-second burst of radio waves at whatever hertz amount and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Astronomer Jerry Eamon, if that's how you say his name, who reviewed the data, was so impressed by the signal's strength that he wrote "wow" on the printout, giving the signal its name. So it's not that the signal...
That's cool.
It's not that the signal was wow. That's not what you heard. Right. It was like a 72-second burst of radio waves. And it was narrow band and unusually intense, making it a strong candidate for an extraterrestrial transmission.
Because it seemed like something that wouldn't just be a naturally occurring thing. Right.
And then... despite numerous attempts to detect the signal, it has never been observed since its initial detection. So it's like this weird, what was it? What happened to it? Where did it go?
It could have been like a mouse chewing on the wire somewhere on the antenna of the receiver.
I'm not taking this seriously. Recent studies suggest the signal may have been a laser-like beam of radiation from a hydrogen cloud, possibly triggered by a powerful magnetic star or a super radiance event. Honestly? If that's what it is, that's way cooler to me than aliens. I mean, because that's kind of a crazy thing to try and picture.
That kind of stuff, like a lot of that, like supernovas and all those kind of like things that just take place in the universe. Yeah, I think that stuff's really cool. Like I said, it's not like I don't think there's life and then intelligent life out there somewhere, because I just think the odds are just way in its favor. You know what I mean? With the number of planets, the number of galaxies, even with how many planets and solar systems in each galaxy, it's like the odds of there not being intelligent life anywhere else are extremely small. But because of the distance between everything, the chance of us ever finding something, I mean, it's not going to happen anytime soon, put it that way.
While the natural explanations are gaining traction, the wow signal remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Wow.
Nice. Nice. Okay, number 2. The Voynich manuscript.
Okay.
You have heard of this.
No, I didn't.
This
okay.
was all
this one I got
a couple of months ago because someone's... Okay, hold on. Let me
tell me what it is.
First.
Maybe I heard of it.
The Voynich manuscript.
Spell it.
Voynich.
Okay.
The Voynich manuscript.
Okay.
I'm not spelling manuscript. That's a word.
Okay.
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 Is a 240-page medieval codex written in an unknown script, also known as Voynichese, if that's how you say it. Voynichese. However.
Well, that makes sense.
Carbon dating places it in the early 15th century, and stylistic analysis suggests it may have been created in Italy. It features unique botanical, astronomical, and biological illustrations, along with text written in an undeciphered language.
Okay, now I did not hear about this. But first, when you said it, I figured it was going to be like a lot older, right? Like 6,000 BC or something like that, right?
It's only the 15th century.
So it's not even that old. So who did someone just make up their own languages at that point? How do they know? How would we not know?
The manuscript is currently undecipherable with no definitive translation. I think that part is crazy for me because it's like, okay, obviously we have figured out alphabets and grammar and phrasing for how many languages.
We can figure out hieroglyphics, but we can't
couldn't figure this out. And it has, like I said, the unique illustrations. It contains a variety of the illustrations, which I said, some of which are not found in other medieval manuscripts. So this is part of the reason this is a big deal is because it had, I won't say information.
That's what I was just going to say.
Not the words,
unique
but it
information,
had the pictures that are accurate that we have not been able to find anywhere else.
So there is information probably stored in this manuscript.
Yes.
That will be new information.
Potentially, yes.
Novel information.
Potentially.
So that's really cool.
I know.
And see, the funny thing is, is this thing available somewhere? Is it like just can you view it? Can you see it? Because I want to figure it out.
I believe you can find, if you just search, you could see like a PDF version online.
And the complete document. Because to me, this is the kind of thing where you feed it into an AI and say, translate this, figure out what this is.
I find it really hard to believe that somebody has not tried doing that.
I would think they would have. And the fact then that it hasn't been translated makes me wonder.
Yeah, it's here. I have it right here.
Is it gibberish?
It's difficult. I'm not going to lie. Actually, when you zoom in, if you look up Voynich manuscript.
Oh, definitely. You can
see it.
Okay. That's wild.
I know.
Okay.
The author and purpose of the manuscript remain unknown, leading to various theories about its origin and meaning. It has been in the hands, the actual manuscript itself is now at Yale, but it has been in the hands of various collectors and scholars over the centuries.
So how long ago did they find this?
And researchers from various fields, including linguistics, paleography, and cryptology, continue to study the manuscript, but a definitive decipherment remains elusive.
How about numerology?
Some researchers have explored artificial intelligence and statistical methods to analyze the manuscript's text and illustrations to no avail.
This blows my mind.
I can't believe you haven't heard of this.
No, I've never heard of this. So how long ago did they find this? You said centuries? They found it?
See.
So it's from the 1500s.
In the early 15th century, estimated 1404 to 1438.
Wow.
The first confirmed owner was George Baresch, a 17th century alchemist from Prague.
All right, so 17th century. So it was found a couple hundred years after it was created.
Yes. He was apparently puzzled about this sphinx that had been taking up space uselessly in his library for many years. He thought it was Egyptian hieroglyphs. Mm-hmm. So he twice sent a sample copy of the script to his friend in Rome asking for clues, which is the earliest known mention of the manuscript to have been confirmed.
Wow. This is everything's going to be wow, even though maybe the first one was going to start with.
Yeah.
That's so strange.
I know. But just a couple of months ago, I remember there was a video I saw or something where someone claimed that they had deciphered it or figured out at least, some kind of what's the word, key for it, but obviously not.
Maybe the person that wrote it was just gaslighting everyone.
Probably.
That
On
it really
to
has no
3.
meaning.
You know this. Deja vu.
Yes.
Can you explain what deja vu is?
It's when you think you were somewhere before, you think you've experienced something else in the past.
That is correct, even though it's likely the first time. So we all kind of
weird.
know what deja vu is.
Uh-huh.
But as I said at the beginning with all these, the exact cause is still not fully understood. There's not like a part of your brain that, scientists or whatever can point, or doctors can point to and say, oh, this part of your brain or this whatever is responsible for.
Is it almost like, you know how AI can hallucinate? Is it almost similar to that, right? In other words, so you're somewhere and you see something or you experience something that is very similar to something you saw or experienced in the past. So does your mind automatically jump to that thing and feel like, wait, I was here before, even though you really were not there before?
Yes. So first of all, who experiences it? Have you experienced deja vu?
Oh yeah, not recently, but yeah.
This says about 60 to 70% of people report having felt it. So
I don't have a good memory though either. So maybe I actually.
But so going back to several theories, because what you said, a lot of people say there are several theories that exist for deja vu. One of them is memory mix-up. Your brain might mistakenly associate a current experience with a similar past memory.
Right.
So that's kind of what you're talking about. Another one is split perception. So the brain might process the same sensory input twice, creating a sense of familiarity. I think that's really weird. It is.
So it's almost like, and it's literally within a millisecond of each other.
Yeah, it's just happened. It's literally
you just experienced it, and you feel like you experienced. Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that
so
really
weird.
And
almost like parallel processing in your head.
Yes, and I think what's craziest about I've lost my train of thought because now I'm thinking about my brain.
Yeah. Remember when that happened before?
The brain is nice. The brain is the smartest. What is it? What's that saying? The smartest.
The brain is the most important organ.
The brain is the most important organ in the body, according to the brain.
Yep, that's it.
I think what's crazy though, thanks brain, is that we won't we don't know which of these is accurate, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like if you experience deja vu, you won't know. Is it something you actually experienced before that you're just your memory is coming back, or is it this split perception where you've never experienced this before and you're just like receiving it twice?
Right. Well, and or is it legit that you actually experienced something before, like you really did? Is it accurate? In other words, people talk about like past lives and things like that.
Right.
Is it like something kind of creepy like that?
A lot of people think that.
Right.
But it could also be a brain processing glitch. Some people believe it's a built-in processing error in the brain that occasionally leads to this feeling, which that's kind of weird to think about, I guess.
Maybe that's it. Maybe your brain, that circuit reboots quickly.
Right.
And then that's why it feels like it just experienced, kind of like you were saying before. Yeah.
Or a split perception thing. And the last one is familiarity-based recognition. The hippocampus, a brain region involved in memory, may be responsible for the sense. So it's a similar thing. It's like you've been in that place before, around that time with the same group of people or whatever, and your brain's like, oh, this is this memory that we're experiencing now.
At the hippocollege on the hippocampus with the other hip.
You lose the day. On to number 4.
Every time I hear the hippocampus, I just like.
Number 4.
Sounds like a nice place with the other hippos. Go ahead.
Is dark matter.
With the other hippopotamuses.
Dark matter.
Okay.
Do you know what this is?
I know in general, like I've read about it and all that.
It's a hypothetical form of matter that interacts gravitationally but not with light, making it invisible. It makes up a significant portion of the universe's mass, about 27%, and is thought to play a crucial role in the formation of galaxies and large-scale structures.
Whenever I hear about this, it's like, okay, well, there's this 27% that there's nothing there, so it must be dark matter. Like, it just sounds like a cop-out.
It does. I agree, but this is really funny. So the nature's unknown. Scientists are still trying to determine what dark matter is made of, which is really crazy when you think about how long we've been studying the universe. And I mean more like when you look at the study of like space in general. Obviously, there was in the grand scheme of human history, it took us a while to get to that point. But then once we reached the point of like, oh, space is something that we should figure out more about, it's like a huge influx of information and like learning and study and all of that, right? So it's really crazy that we still don't have an answer for that. But current theories suggest it could be composed of WIMPs. And WIMP stands for weakly interacting massive particles, which I think is really funny.
Yeah.
So
I've never heard that. That's
I haven't
pretty good.
heard that either. So that's what the theory is, but it's not confirmed, and there's not a lot of basis for that. It's just a theory. We don't know what it's made of. And so not only do we not know what it's made of or any of that, it makes up almost a third.
The funny thing
of the universe's mass, and it's invisible.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
are we not terrified?
Exactly. Well, and if you think about it, though, most scientific discoveries, right, start with some kind of hypothesis, and we can't prove it.
Right.
Right. And so, I mean, you never hear about the things that there was a hypothesis and then it's, they're never proven because the hypothesis was wrong, right? You don't hear about those things. But stuff like this it's so weird because with some of the things, it almost gets to the point where they talk about it so much that people both inside and outside, say the scientific community or the space community, if you call them that, just believe it, like as if it's a fact,
right.
Which is, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Yeah, I was thinking something else, but I can't remember what it was.
So some key points, as I said, it's invisible. It doesn't interact with light, so it doesn't emit, absorb, or reflect light. It's invisible to us. Its gravity affects the visible matter around it, causing galaxies to rotate faster than they should based on the visible mass. Which is crazy.
Well, it's kind of like, so there's some interaction taking place, and we don't know what's causing it. So
we're assuming it's dark matter.
Right.
Researchers are actively searching for dark matter through various experiments and observations. How do you go about discovering something that you theorize is invisible?
Yeah.
How do you?
Because usually if I'm looking for something, the first thing I do is turn on a bright flashlight to look for it, right?
Just like, what would it be by like waves or the lack of wave? Like, it has to be something that obviously you can't see, so you would have to like feel
it's always the effect on something else, right?
Exactly.
Like usually with this stuff, they say, well, okay, this, like our hypothesis, assuming that dark matter exists, is that doing this will cause this, right? And so if they do that experiment and it causes what they thought would happen, then it's like, there it is, it's dark matter, right? Even though technically you're indirectly, I guess, proving something, but it's just weird.
Dark matter is thought to have acted as a gravitational scaffolding for the formation of galaxies and the large-scale structure of the universe.
See, this is the hope with all the AI stuff, is that AI will be able to, first of all, piece a lot of things together where we already have the information.
Yeah.
And where we don't, AI will be able to say, do this experiment, right?
So,
it'll be able to recommend what we should do to prove or disprove some of these things.
Which is really cool, obviously. Right. But so if dark matter doesn't interact with light, what is that? Because the end of our planet and maybe our solar system, I don't really remember what's all, but like what I've heard is that however many billions of years from now, the sun is going to explode.
Right.
And that's how our world is going to, if other stuff doesn't get to it first, that's how the earth would cease to exist, the end. Right?
Yeah.
But if dark matter, and I know there's a lot to the sun besides light, there's like the heat and the radiation, and there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, you're going to say what would happen.
But so is the dark matter, would it also cease to exist, or would that just be primarily what exists?
Or would other matter be like then converted into dark matter or something like that? Because that's the thing, right? So the light eventually goes away. Basically, a lot of the mass. So a lot of the mass is converted into energy, right? So how does the energy, basically like an explosion, like a massive nuclear explosion, how does that affect dark matter?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, good.
So in case anyone's wondering, I just Googled, What will happen to dark matter when the sun explodes?
Okay, what's it say?
So this is a very scientific research question here.
Yeah, and this answer is going to be coming from AI, which is interesting.
When the sun explodes, becomes a red giant and then a white dwarf or a supernova, the dark matter in the solar system will be largely unaffected. Dark matter particles are thought to be weakly interacting and move at high speeds, meaning they would pass through the solar system and continue their journey through the galaxy.
Jeez.
While the sun's explosion would eject material into space, dark matter would not be trapped or significantly influenced by it.
That's incredible. That's like so weird.
Be like dark matter. Don't let anything
so the next question,
you.
though,
What?
How is dark matter created? Is dark matter created or destroyed? Right?
Ooh, I see what you're saying.
Like, or is it just there? It's like everything in the universe, right? Like, okay, where did it come from?
I'll Google it. Hold on.
Okay.
Dark matter's origin remains a mystery. That's why it's on this list.
Yeah.
But current theories suggest it was created in the very early universe after the Big Bang. The most widely accepted idea is that dark matter is composed of new, yet-to-be-discovered subatomic particles, such as WIMPs, as we discussed, or axions. These particles would have interacted very weakly with ordinary matter, explaining why dark matter is so difficult to detect.
So does that mean, okay, so it was created, right, like during or right immediately after the Big Bang?
Dark matter is thought to be a, quote, thermal relic, a massive particle that was abundant in the early universe and left behind as the universe cooled and expanded.
Okay. So does that mean that it cannot be, I mean, short of another Big Bang, it cannot be created?
Hold on. Some scientists also explore other possibilities, such as dark matter being composed of primordial black holes or even a parallel dark sector of particles.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's enough of this.
No, I just think, yeah. Probably the dark matter thing, it all ties in with that manuscript.
Probably. And speaking of all of that, speaking of dark, let's head to the Lost Dark Age, which refers to a historical period, often the early Middle Ages, approximately 5th to 10th century CE, where there was a perceived decline in knowledge and culture compared to the preceding Roman era.
Wait, 5th to 10th century what?
CE.
What is CE?
It says right here.
What is CE? Common era. I hate that. I hate that.
Anyway.
Hold on. Quick aside. It's so stupid now that instead of BC or AD, they say BCE or CE. It's like, it's the dumbest thing in the world. Anyway, go ahead.
So pretty much the big deal with this is that, as I said here, so you had the Roman era, which we obviously all know as being, you know, the library at Alexandria, the all this information and learning and growth and all of this.
Yep.
After that, we enter the Lost Dark Age, where there were challenges in understanding and preserving the information from the previous eras. So it's like we had this, if you're looking at a graph, we had this giant climb with the Roman era and you know, a little steady or whatever. And then just a complete drop off in human knowledge and advancement.
That's just so, and it's so weird. Like, imagine if you lived during that time, right? Would you not feel like a complete loser? Like, in other words, okay, like right now with all the stuff that's going on, I mean, say during my lifetime, right? With, you know, we put men on the moon. Now we're talking about going to Mars. We have the creation of computers, now artificial intelligence, the medical advancements, like all this huge stuff. I have been responsible for none of it. Yet, if I die tomorrow, I'll still feel like proud. It's like, you know, how you're proud of your school or whatever. I'll be proud because of all the things that happened during my lifetime, right?
Sure.
Imagine, like, stop and think about if you lived during those dark ages when they're saying, like, nope, things went backwards. You couldn't even, like, basically the bar was set really low. There wasn't a lot of competition. You could have just discovered. You didn't even have to discover anything. All you had to do was keep a set of books with this information. You would have been a hero.
Here's this is, I think, funnier and adds to kind of what you're saying. The idea of Dark Ages as a period of intellectual decline was largely a perspective of later scholars, particularly during the Renaissance, who viewed the classical period of Greece and Rome as a golden age. So it was more like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy.
I feel like the Dark Ages needed a better marketing person or something. Like, I actually feel bad for those people now.
I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm trying to think of some good, like, Michael Jordan, LeBron analogy here, because obviously LeBron's awful and not awful. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a good basketball player.
He's obviously talented.
He's not the greatest of all time, even though he'll say that if you ask him. And Michael Jordan was... I'm just saying, if people that this is an awful analogy, so just everybody ignore this for a second. Just fast forward 30 seconds. People that are Michael Jordan fans, as you should be, would say, yeah, like that was a golden age, try to compare it to like the Romans and stuff.
Right.
And then in the Dark Ages with LeBron, because what are we even doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't...
Anyway, I really don't like
I don't like LeBron either, but I don't think it's that bad.
The Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages, no.
But so the reasons
Unless
for the
Sixers are in the Dark Ages.
The reasons for the loss of knowledge, and these are just general theories: political instability, decline in literacy, because there was a decline in centralized authority, shift in focus, because the church's emphasis on religious texts and its role in preserving some classical knowledge contributed to a shift in focus away from secular learning, and the lack of resources, because the decline in trade and disruption of established economic systems made it more difficult to support scholars and maintain libraries and archives. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff that contributed to this, I guess you could say. But if you're just looking at it from a historical information perspective, it's like you had Rome, like a nice high, and then you have this drop off, that's the Dark Ages, and then you go back up for the Renaissance.
Yeah. But I feel like with anything with history, I mean, you're basically being told this, right? Or reading this or whatever, and you kind of have to assume it's true.
While literacy rates were still relatively high in some regions, the decline in centralized authority and the rise of a more oral culture contributed to a decrease in the production of written records.
Right.
Because there are not a lot. That's one of the things that's weird about it, is that there aren't a lot of new texts that come from this period. And
yeah, that just seems so weird.
Right.
With the number of people on the planet, you would think there would have to be somebody somewhere that was like discovering things, writing information down, whatever. I don't know. Next.
Anyway, no, that was it. That was the last one.
I didn't realize that was it. Okay.
You've arrived. Congratulations.
I don't know if I really have to look up that. What is it? Voynich?
I've forgotten already. The Voynich.
Voynich.
Voynich. The Voynich manuscript.
Okay. Voynich manuscripts. Manuscript. There's only one.
There's just the one.
Yeah. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's another one. And if we find the other one, that'll be the key to figuring out the first one.
Perhaps. As usual, please like, comment, subscribe.
Or leave us a text or voicemail message at...
It'll be in the show notes. I will read it one more time. 407-584-7543. Text or leave us a voicemail. And you may hear your voicemail on our Friday edition of Listener Feedback. But you can also, as a reminder, you can comment on your podcast listening app of choice. So Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart Radio. You can comment on YouTube. You can email us at existentialcrisispod@gmail.com.
I know, but
I'm just giving the people options.
I know. We don't even have time to check all these different areas. And you're going to say you do. Okay, well, whatever. Here's another idea. One other idea quickly.
What?
If someone wants to leave a voicemail message but does not want to hear their voice on the podcast.
Oh, right.
They can use an AI
No.
Text to speech. No. Yes, they can, but they have to use a good one so it sounds real.
If you, I want to clarify though, because we should say if people, yes, you can message us if you obviously don't want us to read your voicemail. But if you would rather leave a voicemail, but you don't want us to use it on the show, you could just say that in the beginning or at the end, and we obviously won't play it on the air.
We might take listen. That into account. Right.
All right. Anyway, have a great week, everyone. We'll see you on Friday for maybe some of your live listener feedback.
That would be cool.
All right.
Wait, is this the actual official start of the episode?
Well, it was until you asked it if it was the official start.
Wait, I'm not prepared.
Okay. I was prepared.
Hold on.
Can I just tell you?
Give me a second.
Do you need the scratcher?
I have to do my I have to do my normal meditation before we start the episode.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll talk to the people about why I'm so excited for this episode.
I mean my normal medication, not meditation. I have to take my medication.
Do you actually?
No, I don't have to.
Well, this is another outtake.
No, I didn't take my medication.
And somehow I'm the one getting Seniors Magazine.
Otherwise, I get very violent if I don't take my medication.
All right, welcome to Tuesday, everyone.
I get violent if I do take it, too.
Welcome to Tuesday, everyone. We're happy to have you.
Violence is my middle name.
Can you please stop?
Yes.
I will once again begin the episode.
Okay.